40 below zero. The wind knocks you off your feet, and inside a small tent made of hides, two Chukchi people lean into each other. There are no candles, no music, no soft bed, only breath, thick fur, and one simple tradition. You don't get completely undressed, because here, in the far north, everything is different, even love. You don't look for romance here, you look for warmth. If you walk into an Iranga, their home, and you're handed a hot broth and invited to stay, you can be sure you've been accepted. And maybe you'll be trusted with more than just a place to sleep. This is how the Chukchi live, a people who don't freeze, a people who know how to welcome and how to let go, a people for whom a guest is sacred, and life isn't about comfort, but a constant test of grit. They aren't like us, and that's the whole point. Because in their world, survival writes its own laws and creates its own forms of closeness. Where life begins at 40 below zero. While city dwellers panic when the power goes out, the Chukchi live where the bitter cold isn't a crisis, it's just the background noise. Women sew right out in the open, in the whipping wind, wearing thick fur mittens. Men head out into the tundra with no cell service, no maps, and no guarantees. Children play on the snow as if it were a carpeted playroom. They don't have double-paned windows, heated jackets, or central heating. What they do have is experience, a way of life, and a stoicism that Westerners find phenomenal. But why don't they freeze? Because they don't give themselves the option to. Scientists have puzzled over it for decades. Some say it's genetics, others point to body fat, metabolism, and adaptation. But the truth might be simpler. They aren't waiting for a rescue. They just live. From birth, a child is laid on the snow. By 3, they're part of the family's work. By 5, they face their first real cold without tears. By 10, you're not a kid anymore. You're part of the survival unit. Fur, for protection, work, and love. Yes, even intimacy here happens while wrapped in fur. To strip down completely would be foolish. Are your hands cold? Cover them. Is your body cold? Hold each other closer. What matters isn't the beauty of the moment, but its essence, warmth, acceptance, and the continuation of the family line.
We don't ask, are you strong? We ask, can you endure? If you think a woman in the far north is just a cozy figure by the fire, stirring a pot and waiting for her man to come back from the hunt, you're mistaken. A woman in the north is a guardian, a system, a living fortress. While the men are away hunting, for a long time, far away, in the cold and the unknown, everything else rests on the women's shoulders. The home, the children, the hides, the clothing, hospitality, and the decisions. And if something happens, a bear, a blizzard, a stranger, an illness, she is the first one to stand and fight. In Chukchi culture, there's no childhood in the way we think of it. A girl here grows up not by the calendar, but by her actions. At 10, she's already sewing clothes. At 12, she helps prepare animal hides. At 15, she knows how to butcher meat, care for the younger kids, and welcome guests. And by 16, she often becomes a mother. This isn't a fluke, it's the norm. Independence isn't a slogan, it's a way of life. Here, they don't ask, are you ready for a baby? They ask, can you survive on your own? In Chukotka, childbirth isn't a sterile hospital event with doctors in white coats. It's the tundra, the Iranga, the night, the snow, and maybe another woman by your side, or sometimes no one at all. Because here, A woman has to be able to do it herself. To survive, you don't need dreams of a wedding. You need a strong body and an iron will. They know how to fight, physically and mentally. Self-defense is part of their upbringing, not for romantic notions of heroism, but because there might be no one else around. When danger comes, a woman has to be able to protect herself. No one here is taught to be agreeable. They are taught to be alive and to endure. A Chukchi woman doesn't wait around or beg. If she needs to, she'll make the first move. She'll approach a man, speak her mind, and make an offer, even in a romantic sense. Here, taking initiative isn't breaking the rules, it's understanding time. The cold doesn't wait, and neither does life. There is no jealousy, only respect. If a woman chooses someone, even temporarily, her decision is respected. Her husband doesn't slam his fist on the table, her father doesn't yell, and the tribe doesn't judge. They learned long ago that respecting a woman means not holding her captive, but being there for her when she chooses to stay.
And she does all this at 30 below, wrapped in fur, with a knife at her belt and a child in one arm. She can be a mother, a hunter, a mentor, and free. Not because it's trendy, but because there's no other way to survive in the north. The welcoming Iranga. If you enter a Chukchi home, they will feed you, give you shelter, and might invite you to stay. No strings attached, no questions asked. This home has no floor, no doors, no lights, but it's a place no one wants to leave. This is the Iranga. From the outside, it's just hides, bones, snow, and wind. But inside, there is life. A fire in the center, furs along the sides, fat boiling somewhere nearby, and a baby wrapped in pelts. A woman sews without taking off her mittens, because even inside, it's rarely a comfortable temperature. But no one complains. This isn't exotic, it's everyday life. Are you warm with me right now? Picture it. A guest comes into the Iranga, exhausted and frozen. He eats, he warms up, and then he receives an invitation to stay close. No obligations, no grand pronouncements, no promises. Because here, intimacy isn't taboo, it's trust. Everything here is simpler, but also purer. If a woman decides you're worthy, you'll know it immediately. She won't play games or drop hints. She will say it, show it, and invite you. And no one will judge her for it. Not her father, not the elders, not the tribe. Consent is all that matters. The rest is irrelevant. Are you a stranger? It doesn't matter. Are you just here for a day? Maybe. But if you've shown respect, been open and honest, you can be close. Nobody here demands a bouquet of flowers. They value the moment. And if that moment happens, it's a joy, not a reason for drama. A person's build is more important than their words. From ancient times, the Chukchi have valued a person for their strength, endurance, and ability to carry on the family line. If a woman is ready for motherhood, she makes the choice. If a man is reliable, tough, and calm, he can be by her side. Love? They have a different name for it here, a decision made in the cold. Sometimes it's for one night, sometimes for a lifetime. There are stories of a woman staying with a guest until morning and never seeing him again. There are also stories where a single night became the start of a new family. And no one ever asked, but what will people think? Because here, they don't think about opinions. They think about who is with them right now.